Lady in yellow with a banana is dancing with me. Oh, I shouldn't sing. But why is it she's wearing red? Why not green? Well, it's because each color has their own special kind of magic. I guess I don't need that. Today, we're going to talk about different colors and what special magic each of them brings to your painting. So let's get started. So let's start with yellow. Yellow is a beautiful color that can really help guide your viewer's eye around the painting. Yellow attracts attention. It's warm, inviting, and it also makes things pop forward. So a lot of times landscape painters will use yellow in the foreground or the front of the painting to create dimension, to make things come Ooh, goodness, that was a good one, kitty. They'll use yellow to make things come forward, or they'll use yellow to make a painting feel cheerful, which is why I painted these abstracts with yellow, because I was having feelings of hope, feelings of joy, feelings of reawakening. So yellow can be used to denote a hopeful emotion, a happy emotion, sunny, bright, cheery. But it can also just be used to create dimension in your painting by bringing things forward. Let's talk about another color that artists don't think about a lot, maybe, as being too important, but it really is. And it's because it plays a supportive role, and that's really important. And that color is gray, which you'll notice the colors of my walls are gray. And the reason why I did that is because I knew I would be hanging up some of my paintings and I really wanted them to pop on the wall, and gray will make bright colors really look even brighter. So it plays an important role in painting in that it helps your brighter colors look even brighter than they would have if there was no gray in the painting. Green is another interesting color. It can be really a warm green, which means it has more yellow in it, and that makes it come forward. A lot of times when I'm painting landscapes, I'll use Permanent Green Light by Daniel Smith. It's a beautiful color. It's a young green, and it makes everything pop forward. It's fresh, it's invigorating. I used Permanent Green Light, in fact, in this painting, because I really wanted to denote a new start, spring, freshness, aliveness. I just feel like this color looks like it's almost breathing, and I love that about green. But there's so many different greens, and a lot of times when you're painting in a landscape, you want to add a little bit of red to green. That's a little painter's secret that you may have heard of, you may not have. But when someone taught me that trick, adding a little bit of red, which is exactly opposite the color wheel of green, it grays it down just a little bit to make it look more natural. So if your greens are overpowering your paintings, try that little trick. Green is a tricky color. It's probably the hardest color to paint with. And so green can be a really overpowering color, and it might confuse you, especially if you're a beginning painter. And the reason why is green just kind of takes over and can look really unnatural. So use that little trick to make your paintings look more natural, and add more browns, oranges, and reds like tree trunks to help balance out your greens. Black is another really important color that artists don't think about, but it can add a lot of really great pop and contrast. And you can even use it as a liner. Black eyeliner around an animal's eyes really make their eyes stand out. And if you get it really super black, it's really, really striking. And you can't really get any darker than super black. And so that's an important color that I use to help viewers' eyes travel to the area of contrast. So I often put my black up against a really bright color or a really very light color, even white color, which we'll talk about later. But black can be the color that you need to really add a pop of super dark and super contrast to really pop out a certain aspect of your painting that you want your viewer to pay attention to. Let's talk about white, since we just talked about black, because they often go together. If you want an area of contrast, and you really can't get more contrast than super dark against pure white. And just look at this painting by Valine Larson, and she put that pure white splash behind the kids playing with the super dark background even behind that, and it really makes it pop out at you. Then if you look at this painting by Hugh Mossman, he put the whitest white right by that fisherman, so it invites you into this landscape to really look at the middle of the painting, which he wants to be the center of interest. And then this painting by Sujitsuri, I'm sorry if I'm killing that name, but this is an interesting use of white because the artist used it almost like a shadow shape. And instead of it being a shadow shape, it's a white shape. And I actually learned about this in a workshop with Tom Lynch, where he talked about using a whole shape that weaves throughout your painting of white to kind of pull it all together and really make it a cohesive painting. So this is a great example of that. Let's look at one more painting that uses white in a beautiful way. A lot of the contrast and a lot of the white is near her eyes, and the lines in the painting kind of lead you to her eyes. And this is just a beautiful use of white to encourage you into the painting. Another way that I use white is to really highlight eyes, and I use the glint of the eye. I always make sure I have that white highlight in the eye and my dark contrast near the eye to really encourage people to look into my painting at the eye of whatever it is I'm painting, usually some sort of animal. All right, purple is a really interesting color. I like to use it, in fact, in landscapes to contrast with all the greens, and it really helps balance out the greens. For some reason, I don't know what it is about purple, but it's so pretty with so many different colors, and I often add it to backgrounds or into shadows to really make a shadow look more beautiful, to make a painting overall look beautiful. And I've found that when I add purple to a painting, it really can balance out the colors of a painting, and it's like before the purple was added to the painting was like, and then when you add the purple, the painting is like, la, la, la. It just brings it up a little level. I really love that about purple, and I've noticed that in other paintings where the artist used purple, it really has a beautiful effect. It's very aesthetically pleasing. All right, let's talk about blue. Blue is also a really important color because you can use it to push things back. It tells the viewer's eye to keep moving in general. It tells the viewer's eye that this item is pushed back in space. If you use a glaze of blue over your background, then that will push that background back even further. Like, for example, if you have a cat sitting like this, boink, and you want this part of the cat to recede back in space, you just put a glaze of blue over this at the end of the painting, and it pushes the haunches back even further, just as an example. Same thing with mountains in a landscape. You put a glaze of blue over those mountains, and it just pushes them back, and it adds a three-dimensional aspect to your painting that can be really attractive. All right, let's talk about red. I've been noticing this a lot in paintings lately of masterful painters. And what they do is they use a color palette of kind of grays, maybe browns and gray colors throughout the whole painting. And then bam, they put a pop of red somewhere. And it's just really striking, and it really makes the painting seem like it's really special. So you can use red also almost like the black and white contrast does. It almost does the same thing. It creates an area of interest to help the viewer's eye know where to move in the painting. And it can really add a really beautiful pop of color that is very striking, and it just takes a painting to the next level. And I've noticed that a lot of times I've seen oil painters will start with an underpainting of red. I think Karen Jurek did this. I don't know if she still paints this way, but Karen Jurek is an oil painter, and I remember seeing her start her paintings with red. And the red it's counterintuitive because you think it would be overwhelming, but once you cover all that up with paint, then little bits of red shine through and just adds a dimension of vitality. Red is the color of blood, the color of vitality, and it just, maybe instinctually as humans we react to red because it denotes something that's really alive. So we really react to the color red maybe on a deep instinctual basis. That's why a pop of red in a painting is so powerful. But try it in some of your next paintings and see, like if you're painting a landscape with a lot of blues and greens, put a pop of red flag on the top of your sailboat. Or I've been doing this, I've been making a concerted effort to do this when I'm painting animals, whenever the reference photo gives me the opportunity anyway to put a pop of red in their ear or on their nose is really effective. Use those opportunities that your reference photo gives you to put in a pop of red and just up it just a little bit as an artist beyond what's in the reference photo, and it'll really make your painting really pop. Is dancing with me. That's bad. Lady in red. Ugh. You don't want to hear that. By using each color to their full potential to bring special magic to your paintings. I don't know how to say that. That was a good one. You're so great. And remember, because I don't want to die a slow and agonizing death here on YouTube, I keep everything that's the most interesting to the very end so the algorithm sees you all watching to the end. You're in that sunlight and you feel all warm. All right, thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.